Hello and welcome everybody. We're back today again with Michael, and we have a new script. It is the Killer Queen script from the Kennedy assassination sessions we are doing on the media agenda. Actually, this is almost historical, isn't it, Michael? This looking back at the Kennedy assassination, and this is actually the conspiracy series, our biblical look at these events that have happened in history. And this has got to be, in modern history, one of the most important events. So I want to take and welcome Michael and also thank him for his due diligence in doing these researches and putting this together. Welcome, Michael.
Hello, Brad. Thanks for bearing with me. Hello, dear listeners. I'm really happy when we are approaching the end of the tunnel here on Kennedy. I don't want to suppose how many sessions I will need, but I think that will be countable on two hands, I hope. So I'm very fed up sometimes with the item, but on the other hand, it's very fascinating to see the things and connect the dots from a biblical perspective, which we will do, of course, in the last sessions. But now it's just a runner-up to the last two sessions about the wife of Mr. Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy. And this is the first of, I think it will be 3 sessions on the so-called Killer Queen. Because there is a script, what I will use today, or no, what I will use in the future, maybe next time, what I can't do at the moment because there are so many things to sort out first. So this is the introduction, Killer Queen Part 1. Overall, it's Conspiracy Session 42. What to expect? Apart from my bad school English. Yeah, well, you see that you can do the usual approach and to check open doors and to check open windows and count gunshots and climb grassy knolls and don't forget sewers. Yeah, you can go endlessly in that. I hope you will see then later on it's much more interesting to look behind the scenes and not into how they did the assassination, because I think that Kennedy was killed. That's most likely. He won't reappear because he would be 105 years old today. But I think that is more interesting to look behind the scenes. Nevertheless, because everybody would point the finger and say that, oh, no, I'm too lazy, I'm too lame, I don't know what else to look into the assassination, we will have a try to look into the next upcoming item of the assassination aspect of Kennedy, which is the Killer Queen. So who killed John F. Kennedy? If it not Lee Harvey Oswald, if it was not the driver Will Greer, so then many people suppose, oh, it must be Jackie Kennedy, because she was next to him, of course. It's a miracle that she wasn't taken out. Yeah, speaking of miracles. Okay, so let's get it on. Yeah, because Jackie is the Pink Panther, and Jackie is not only the Pink Panther, but Jackie is also the elephant in the room, although this elephant seems to have a good time near the lake. But Jackie is the elephant in the room, because in the mainstream media, nobody won't dare to touch the role model of Jackie Kennedy as one of the most well-dressed women of the 20th century, if that is important to you. Yeah. What is superficial? That's superficial. So I don't want to be superficial. I just want to know what's what. So therefore, let's have a go for it. I was being informed in my German channel that there are some errors. I know that I made some minor errors, being at the background of the Kennedy Zapruder movie picture 1 and 2 because of my bad geometrical understanding. I know that I made that mistake, and I know that I said in one of the last sessions that Gerald Ford's supposed to be in Dallas at the time. No, he wasn't, but I have corrected it in the German session. I cannot correct it here. So that these are 2 minor mistakes, I think, or 2 mistakes I made. But apart from that, I mostly double-check things to be sure that I have not spoken anything out of the blue. So I was approached by somebody who told me, no, it was not the Kennedy limousine, because the Kennedy limousine was just 2 rows of seat, and there were only 3 people in that. It was Kennedy, his wife, and the driver. And I said, what? Are you really sure? And I have looked upon the internet, and I searched the internet, and I found, oh yeah, these are cars supposed to be the presidential limousine. But they aren't. And people will be distracted today with many psychological tricks, and one of them is being the so-called Mandela effect. It's about the Night of Malta, Nelson Mandela, who many people suppose things which weren't true, but you see that this Mandela effect means that you suppose things which weren't there. And you can't remember the correct history. And so you see here a picture with your ordinary Lincoln Continental with 2 people in the back seat. Yeah. And these videos and many pictures, they are claiming, yes, Mr. President was Kennedy and was assassinated in this limousine. No, he wasn't. And he is not still haunting the limo. And that's not his limo. Yeah, so this limo may reside in the Henry Ford Museum, but what do you think? What really do you think if that would be in the Henry Ford Museum, when you know that Henry Ford was a 33-degree Freemason? Yeah, you think you get the truth there or what? No, the Henry Ford Museum is in Dearborn, Michigan, and there is a closed model of the Lincoln Continental as far as I know, so therefore that is not the original car. Yeah, you see, that is all lie. Yeah, because there is a collection of historic autos attraction, if you look carefully in this video, in Roscoe, Illinois, if that is correct, and they are presenting this limousine with wax models, so that it seems as if that was the reality or the truth, which it isn't. Yeah, so they say they have a replica car that is bid to the appearance of the presidential limousine. Yeah, but it's not the presidential limousine. Yeah, but the follow-up car must be the original car. Yeah, so that has only the appearance of the presidential Lincoln Continental convertible, and these are just wax figures. Yeah, and so people say that, no, I have only seen 2 people or 3 people or 4 people in the car, and people have been mixed up very easily. Yeah, but this car has been unaltered officially. But it's not in the Henry Ford Museum, and you see that. Where to start? I can only recommend people do your own research. Yeah, this car has not been changed, so unlike the presidential vehicle. Yeah, so that is not the presidential vehicle. Oh my. Where to start? And when you like to worship images and idols, Brad, then I would recommend this museum, so to speak, the Temple of the Muses, because they bear an original leather upholstery from the presidential limousine stained with the President Kennedy's blood. Does that remind you of some strange habits, rituals in some churches?
Oh, really? Relics?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yes, we must venerate the relics. Yeah. Typical Roman Catholicism.
Yeah, in a so-called Protestant country, so-called.
Well, it's worse because they think you can mix it all up and it's just fine, Michael.
People want to please people and not God.
That's right.
That's a problem.
It's all about pleasing the flesh.
Yeah.
Like vanity.
Yeah. So what kind of strange idea it is to falsify all pictures, videos into believing people there were only 4 people. You see, the entire Kennedy thing with the magic bullet only can work. Of course, it can't, but can officially work when there is a Connolly and his wife. Yeah. So it makes absolutely no sense. Sometimes I really don't know what people are really think. People have really, you have to do your own research. You don't have to trust me or anyone else. Do your own research, please. Yeah, don't let him fool you. Everybody of us, we've been lied all over the place every day. Oh, everybody is putting lies in front of us. So then I
Yeah,
thought,
that's kind of the problem with Christianity, Michael. All of a sudden, people get this idea that everyone's infallible because you're claiming to be Christian and to repent and be born again. Well, that's not true. We all have issues that we work on a daily basis, and we're going through a process called sanctification, which means God is purifying our hearts through trials and temptations in life. And sometimes we fail. Sometimes we fall into temptation. And just remember the Lord's Prayer. It's pretty simple, right, Michael?
mm-hmm.
It really is. It's really simple when we get down to it. But the fact of the matter is, we're all fallible, even the Pope.
Oh, that's blasphemy.
Especially the Pope. He's a man of sin, yeah.
Yeah, that is in the eyes and the ears of Catholic would be blasphemy.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, because it's a strange thing. Yeah, they claim apostolic succession.
Yes.
Although
yes,
the Pope
apostolic
has been elected by men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tell me, where is the logic in that? No logic, huh?
No, of course. It's what's called indoctrination. It's just a false doctrine is what it is.
Yeah.
False prophet, actually. Yeah, false prophecy as well. So, yeah, well, that's what you get when you worship a man, right, Michael?
Yeah, they follow man instead of God, and that's the usual approach of the so-called Israelites in the Old Testament.
I mean, how childish can you be calling a man Holy Father? I mean, it's blatant blasphemy, just point blank. Point blank. No excuse for it, Michael.
I would be very curious to know what the percentage of average Catholic people is who have read the Bible.
Ooh, you're asking a really tough question to infallibly answer, but I think any one of us can pretty much guess on that one.
Yeah.
It's got to be close to 100%, I think. But that's just my opinion.
No, I think that the majority of people don't read the Bible. They just trust the word of their priest, pastor.
Well, even worse, throw in the corrupted Bibles and, and I guess everyone's got their own opinion about the Bible too, don't they?
Yeah, can you imagine the mindset of somebody who is deliberately forging the Bible?
Yeah, well, that's the spirit of Antichrist, Michael.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Huh? How can
that's the spirit of Antichrist.
How can
it's really simple.
How can you have a fake Bible translation on purpose, and then you put on the cover of that book, you put up the inscription Holy Bible or Holy Word of God or something?
You can make a Holy Bible for Satanism too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what that is you've replaced the truth of God, the truth about God, with a lie. So, you have your place reserved in the lake of fire at the end of it all. You might have great riches and wealth right now, but...
Yeah, but they don't care, Brett, because they don't believe in it.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah, they just don't believe in it. They just believe they are, I don't know, they're Big Bam or something, I don't know. Big Bam Boom. Or any other stuff, any mystics.
It's the opposite of Christianity. It's the opposite of true repentance and sanctification with our Lord Jesus Christ. It's the exact opposite.
You see, if the Pope says that the evolution theory is perfectly in line with the creation, then you're free to believe everything. Think what you will. Believe what you do, what you want. Do what thou wilt. Is it correct that I read that he wanted to baptize even aliens, so from outer space?
Yep. Of course. Bring them into the Catholic fold. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's their line of thinking, you know. Nothing was created by God. It was all created in, you know.
Chaos.
Yeah, right.
Chaos. Order up chaos. Okay, so let's go back to the Kennedy assassination. I came across that book and I thought, The Girl Who Shot JFK. And I said, oh, that sounds interesting. And I looked at it and said, oh, a novel. Great. So mixing everything up, yeah? Mixing everything up. Even pictures. Yeah? What's that kind of a car? What's that kind of a front? What's that kind of motor cops who never were there? And is there a motorbike cop? Is there somebody running? is that a new world record? Or what is that?
What on earth is that all about? That is Photoshop.
Yeah. Don't tell me that the official commission and government did not have any Photoshop in the 1963 style. They certainly did.
Well, when you have enough money to work on things like this, you figure things out.
Yeah, ask the experts.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. You see, that picture is never picture 313 from the Zapruder movie. That has been mixed up and copied and what else? Why? Yeah, so you see that everybody is trying to fool you. So I thought that, well, maybe there's some construction works for children who even got it right with the 6 people in the car. When adults got problems on that, you see that it's just unbelievable how many people also making money on that JFK assassination with books, with documentaries, with interviews, with I don't know, with stuff, with toys, with memorabilia, and what else? Yeah. Okay, so I did not want to go into the 777 because 777 is a Kabbalistic number.
Say, Michael, I just want to add to what you just were talking about. Henry Kissinger has a quote here: "It is not a matter of what is true that counts, but a matter of what is perceived to be true."
Yeah. It's about the disinformation agency called CIA.
Exactly. Oh, Henry Kissinger would just love that, wouldn't he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what they're all about, is covert operations running in parallel with their so-called good works, right?
Yeah, that's a miracle. You see that how many money all these secret services are gathering, the FBI, CIA, NSA, and what else. Yeah, and they don't, yes, it's just secret, yeah? So that's how many money will there be washed, laundered, and what money laundering or what else is there possible, because you see, it's just for a secret project.
Ah, you're reminding me of the book of Revelation, Michael. When we're speaking about the merchants of the earth.
Yeah, precisely. And also there are many official tasks like airports in Germany who are never been finished, or they at least take 4 or 5 times what usually an Asian airport would have been built in that time. So they would have built 4 airports in the same time. And so much money has been lost there, and it's just everywhere there's money, there is corruption everywhere. But get back to the Kennedy assassination. This is confusion not by chance, but on purpose. Because when you have watched the latest episode, or the last episode from last week or so, or episode 41, then you may have come to the conclusion, oh, that's absolutely logical. It must be the lamb chop. It must be Jackie Kennedy, because everything would fit neatly. Yeah. But, and there's a big but, if you do research, you have to take the approach that everything can be faked, even also the alternative media or the controlled opposition or anybody else, and everybody is infallible, even the Pope. Yeah, so we are all infallible, so that we have to check everything against the Bible. And the Bible is misstated that every man is a sinner. So what to make out of it? You see, I got a big problem with that theory with the lamb chop, and I will show that to you. And you say, and please don't accuse me of making these sessions longer than needed, because I just want to point out once and for all how difficult it is and how time-consuming it is when you see all the lies in the world, and you can't see them all, of course. But I got a theory which you have to debunk, then it's another theory which you have to debunk, but what's in the end? In the end, of course, you can't say it precisely how it happened, because you are not God. Yeah, you weren't there, I wasn't there, so therefore I can only guess. But if you look upon the theory from last week with the lamb chop, then we got several problems. The problem is that people are supposed not the people who has been the people explained in that kind of theory. So officially, that guy here in that last episode, supposed to be David Morales from the CIA. Yeah, you see that. That is the picture of David Morales from the CIA. Looks a little bit Mexican or what else. Yeah, David Morales from the CIA. Yeah, and that is supposed to be that guy. But, and it's a big but, now we got somebody else. The names is Jim Featherston. Jim Featherston, standing here. And Jim Featherston has made an interview, or made his contribution, on the 30-year celebration on the journalist approach on the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1993. So that is Jim Featherston from a certain Dallas Time-Herald. Might be a Freemason, I don't know, I haven't checked it out. And I think that it's more likely that that is him than David Morales, right? So you know that the theory of last week is very weak. W-E-A-K. Because that can't be Mr. Morales. I'd say that is more likely just Jim Featherston. And Mr. Jim Featherston also ran into a big argument with our so-called main witness, Jean Hill. So, most likely he was there on the day of the event. And he says that out in the corner of Main and Houston Street, yeah, so the second to last corner, so to speak, he was there being photographed. And you see here Jackie Kennedy giving salute, so to speak. You see the raised side window here. That might be the photograph here. Looks very similar here. So that is not David Morales, in my humble opinion. Yeah? So I would debunk this picture on that position here. Of course, can be photoshopped. Sure, everything can be photoshopped. But you see, you got an argument and you got a counter-argument. And I would like to show you these counter-arguments. Yeah, so officially he says that he was there in Dallas and he was on that corner standing there when he was depicted on that photograph. And this is Lucien Conain, most likely, if that is also not photoshopped, of course. But then you can't look at any pictures and videos. Yeah, you have to suppose that everything is photoshopped. So let's get it on. This is most likely Mr. Lucien Conain, but this is most likely not Mr. David Morales. Let's get it on. The next position is that woman here. That woman is supposed to be Baroness Philippine Mathilde de Rothschild. Yeah, Rothschild, who was supposed to be born 30 years ago. So on her 30th birthday, she was supposedly watching the JFK assassination, or the JFK parade, sorry. Yeah. But there is also Betty Dragoo, who says, hey, oh yeah, that's me. I don't have any photo of Betty Dragoo, but at least she was mentioned in the original investigation of the assassination from the Warren Commission, a certain Mrs. Barney, or nicknamed Betty Dragoo, not Betty the bird, but Betty Dragoo, or the dragon, in West Brooklyn in Dallas. Yeah, so whom to believe? Yeah? Whom to believe? You can't say because you weren't there and you haven't interviewed these people and you don't know who's lying to you and who's photoshopping, who's mixing all the pictures. You don't know. You can't say anything about that. But the problem is that also Jean Hill, who is the eyewitness of the lamb chop or the dog in the car of Kennedy, you have to take it for granted, and I can't do that because I have to question everything. Yeah. So sometimes I'm really sorry, and I think to myself, haven't I started on that whole Kennedy thing? Because whom to believe? Yeah, because Jean Hill was talking to Mr. Arlen Specter, that's the inventor of the so-called single bullet theory, 33-degree Freemason, by the way. She said that she was being asked by Mr. Featherston, yeah, so not the Mr. David Morales, but Mr. Featherston, that she was handing over the Polaroid of Mary Moorman standing beside her because he wanted to have that Polaroid for a certain reason, and she claims that he ordered her to not to say some particular things, for example, maybe also the dog in the car. So whom to believe? Do you believe Mr. Jean Hill? Or do you believe Mr. Featherston? Mr. Featherston officially is working for the Dallas Times-Herald, so in an official position, most likely connected to Freemasonry. Jean Hill, on the other hand, has another problem. Jean Hill says has changed her testimony a bit from time to time. And Oliver Stone, on the other hand, is portraying Mr. Featherston as a sinister conspirator attempting to intimidate a key eyewitness. Speaking of Jean Hill, is it what's really happened? Nobody can tell you. What I can tell you is that you got a next problem. The next problem is if you rely on eyewitness like Jean Hill. Jean Hill is claiming that this Dealey Plaza was kind of a restricted area. So what did she do there? Yeah, she was there because she wanted to greet her so-called boyfriend or friend at that time, which is official J.B. Marshall's name to the officer, J.B. Yeah, so that was the reason why she was allowed officially, what she was stating, at the Dealey Plaza. So that means that she's got, officially, a friend in the Dallas Police Department. Now we got another problem because the head is Jesse Curry, and he's a 33-degree Freemason. So whom to believe? If that really was a restricted area in Dealey Plaza, then everybody, all of the eyewitnesses are suspicious. You see, that is my point. You can't rely on the eyewitness. You have to make your own conclusions. And that might be a bit disappointing, but you see that I just want to point you to the fact that we have to deal, for the majority of parts, with sinners and people who are just putting under pressure and everything else. Yeah, whom to believe? Whom to believe? Somebody who is working for the newspaper or somebody who has a friend with the police? Yeah, so they are both no lay people or just regular citizens or bystanders or what else. No. They do have some connections to authority, let's say it on that way. Yeah, and maybe that was Betty Dragoo or somebody else, but there are also other people claimed here, or Orcus Campbell. You see, all these people could be CIA agents. All these people, these names can be made up. Yeah, we can't prove anything. Yeah. We can't prove anything, and you also cannot prove the location of the shot, because if you see how many houses are located here in the streets, and you see that the echoes are bang, 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 you see that you can't make it out if the shot would be coming from the 6th floor Texas School Book or the Deltex building, I suppose. Yeah, if you're standing here, you can't make it out. You see, you got the echo, echo, echo distraction everywhere. So whom to believe? Yeah. The biggest argument against the theory of the lamb chop is actually this picture. Why? Because if that would be the murder weapon or kind of the structure of the murder weapon, why are they showing you that on purpose? Or by accident or what? Why not to get rid of the the things? Why don't you get rid of the proof? Why are you showing it to people? It would be very easy for Jackie or somebody else to fetch that from the back of the car, don't you think? So I got my severe problems with the theory that it had been made that way. Yeah. But that's also the problem, how to rely on who's who. Well, maybe that was Hunt, maybe it wasn't. I hope that we will find someday the truth. I know that everything is complicated because everything is a Secret Service organization and a Secret Service cover-up here. And of course, JFK was being admired by many, many people. He was young, good looking, and of course the president, and therefore many people also from Georgetown and the CIA, for example, Mary Pinchot, these people were maybe being pushed towards Mr. Kennedy to get some secrets out of him. That's just my line of thinking. This is Mr. Kennedy in the 1947, so at the age of 1917, 30 years old, when he was just approaching the Senate. Beside him is Richard Nixon here, and you see how young Mr. Kennedy was at that time, was just 30 years old. And what do you know when you are 30 years old? Huh? Yeah, 30 years later he was running for the presidency. And then we have to cover up all the lies. The next problem that I have really got is that picture 313. I have to simple question why this picture has not been censored, Brett.
Well, I guess they're gonna fool you. They gotta have some proof that it actually happened, don't they?
Yeah, but the problem is you know that these are just certain frames, and this is the only frame which shows a white smoke or so above the head. And we know about this CIA film specialist who says that no, that smoke was visible for 3 of 4 frames. And these frames are missing, so that is the only frame left which shows the impact of the bullet or something spraying out of Kennedy's head. But it would have been very easy for that one frame, single frame 313, Brett, to just paint it over with some other green paint or something like that. I don't know, in the analog age, of course. But this clearly shows a trajectory here, or something like that, or an ejection or something. And that's what I'm having a hard time with. You see that I just told you a few sessions before, everything that you see, it's ought to be seen, and everything you don't see is the way that they have done it, because you're not supposed to see it. It's a Secret Service. It's not a service for educating people how to make an assassination, but the Secret Service is there to hide the methods of the assassination. So these are my arguments against the theory of the lamb chop. Yeah? First argument is that I cannot trust anyone on the grassy hill because it was restricted area. Second is I can't trust anybody who's related to the Dallas police, like Mrs. Hill. And the third one is the picture of the lamb chop in the car. And the fourth one is the frame 313. You see, they got more than 5 years, or about 5 years, to fabricate the Zapruder movie. Yeah, don't you think they had enough time to fabricate frame 313? So maybe that is also not trajectory, but it has been made up. Can be. Can't be sure. Can you be sure it has not been fabricated here? So these are my arguments against theory. Don't be disappointed, please. I will come up with a theory of my own, or not of my own, but a combined theory of many other things. But at the moment, I'm very busy with that. So the president was rushed for the 3.8 mile, congratulations, 11 once again, to the Parkland Hospital. And Mrs. Kennedy supposedly refused to remove her blood-stained clothing and reportedly regretted having washed the blood off her face and hands, explaining to Lady Bird Johnson that she wanted them to see what they, who's they have done to Jack, meaning John F. Kennedy. So, once again, this is by accident now a color picture. And what does Wikipedia tell you? She has not having washed the blood off her face and hands. You see any blood? Question, why are the most pictures of that incident or that inauguration of Johnson black and white? Well, if you look upon the internet, of course, the answer is obvious because it had to suit the newspapers. if you look at the inauguration of Lying Lyndon B. Johnson, most of them will be in black and white because for the printing press. Yeah, you see the majority is clearly black and white on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Yeah, and there is just, this is just a movie here, huh? And that's just one which is in color. So you can't make it up when it is black and white because you don't see blood stains on a pink dress. And that's also my opinion, the reason why they have, or one of the reasons why they have chosen that dress. And it's also, there's another hint which you can't be aware of because you're not familiar with German politicians. That's the so-called Barschel affair. There's a famous picture in a bath tube where this German politician has been found, officially committed suicide. But unofficially, there are some people, including, I think it was an Israeli agent, who said that, oh, there's a certain professional method to get rid of people. And you see, that is the awful picture of a German politician who has left his wife and 2 children, and he officially committed suicide in a Swiss hotel, which was very infamous for being a meeting place of agents. So you know, or you don't know why they have officially been published this picture in one of the biggest German magazines of that time. Can you imagine that you see a black and white picture on that Stern, which means star? I don't know when it was. Was it in 1987 or something? I think it was 1987. Why should anybody publish a black and white picture? Yeah, 1987, 11th of October 1987. That's Uwe Barschel. Yeah, that's that politician here. And researchers have found out that he was against a deal about nuclear or not nuclear submarines, vessels to Israel or something like this. This was the official explanation. And he was about to meet with somebody in the Swiss hotel. And yeah, you really think that somebody who has two adult children and a wife is committing suicide with a suit in the bathtub, yeah, right? That's the usual approach, huh? My. It's really disgusting, but the problem is that, no, they have shown you a black and white picture here on that magazine in 1987, because you don't see the artifacts on his foreskin, yeah? There were hematomes. There were blood also on his foreskin, on his forehead. Yeah, forehead. And that's maybe also the same reason why they're just having the inauguration of. Yeah, you see, no color picture of Mr. Barschel in the bathtub. Yeah, on purpose, because you see hematomes. It is, what is it in English now? Hematome. Hematome. Yeah. Hematoma. Yeah. You don't have to believe me, but it's just a very it is just very obvious that there are many things are being faked on Wikipedia. Yeah. Where are color pictures of it? Because I have seen one. I don't know if it was recolored. Oh, that's too small. If that is an authentic picture, which I do not know. Yeah. But that's also my problem in the case of Kennedy. There, you see that Wikipedia tells you she did not wash the blood off her face and hands, and also, of course, not on her dress. Yeah, she refused to remove her blood-staining clothing. Where do you see her blood-stained clothing? Yeah, these just small dots here or what? A few minutes ago, you have seen how the back of the car looked like. Yeah, And you really suppose that she's having the same dress 2 hours later? That's the same dress? I highly doubt that. Yeah, she continued to wear the bloodstained pink suit. I highly doubt that. But there are more strange things. She requested a closed casket overruling the wishes of her brother-in-law, Robert. Yeah, why is that, you might ask, huh? Privately, his widow, speaking of Jackie Kennedy, cared little about the investigation, stating that even if they had the right suspect, it would not bring her husband back. Oh, that is very interesting, because she could be next, Brad. Mm-hmm. What's that kind of an attitude? She's got 2 children, and she's also she was the first lady. Yeah, how does she know that it was supposed to hit the president and not her? And that maybe she's next, or that somebody's out there who's the murderer. She says, oh no, I don't care, it does not bring back my husband. A strange attitude, huh? You believe that, I don't believe it. Yeah, and people say that, oh yeah, that was like Camelot there, that was such a romantic connection between Jacqueline and Jack, or Jackie and Jack. She hates to be called Jack. Yeah, so she compared the Kennedy years in the White House to King Arthur's mythical Camelot, which never existed. Most scholars regard it as being entirely fictional, but at least that it's legend bred, and so there is a magician with a dragon. That's the new adventures of Merlin with the dragon. That's the so-called legends and myth. Yeah. So, and that's the same problem that King Arthur, who never existed, was being buried in Avalon. Avalon is the picture and the name of an album from Roxy Music. Roxy Music's main singer is Brian Ferry, bisexual, by the way, together with David Bowie here and Amanda Lear. That's one of the first German sessions I did 3 and something years ago with Jörg. And no, I'm not Jörg, I'm Michael. And this is Amanda Lear in the middle here. She's not a she, she's a he, who has been operated to be as a she. Yeah, you see that, that's very fascinating for all these people like David Bowie and Brian Ferry, who are bisexual, of course. Huh? You are the best of both worlds, or I don't know. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so that Miss Amanda Lear, who has been made transgender woman in 1960 something, that soon. And she says, follow me. Follow me is the lines of Goethe's Faust, of Mephisto, of the devil speaking to Dr. Faustus. Yeah, follow me means follow Satan. That is quite clearly when she's depicted here with a whip in front of a throne in black leather. And she says, Mother, look what they've done to me. And she's here standing in front of 2 pillars, and 2 pillars also mean the entrance of a temple. It's similar to 9/11, and it's very interesting when you would have listened to my German sessions about that boy, that girl, which actually is an Asian boy, Asian man, I suppose, by birth. Then she tells you that she was in New York when the attacks on the World Trade Center happened. The world is full of coincidences. Yeah. So this is all about the Lancelot and Camelot story is so romantical between Jack and Jackie. Camelot and the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is supposed to heal anybody, even Sean Connery being James Bond 007, and Harrison Ford on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Crusade, Brad. Crusade. Crusade means Knights of the Round Table. It's no wonder that Mrs. Kennedy is fascinated by the legend of King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table when their own husband, John F. Kennedy, is a Knight of Columbus, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we're not going into Monty Python, the Tale of Sir Lancelot. We're not going into this. But you see all these strange things. Later on, she has got an affair with her younger brother, Robert F. Kennedy, supposedly. And she also has backed him up when he was trying to run for the candidate on president. But he was being murdered in 1968. In June 1968, he was 42 years old. And then Mrs. Kennedy, Brett, she says then, after the killing of Robert Kennedy, she says, if they're killing Kennedys, then my children are targets. I want to get out of this country. That's quite contrary after the reaction after the shooting on John F. Kennedy, which took place inches beside her. Huh? Now, out of a sudden, she has to get out of the country. Yeah, you see, but the real reason why she had to get out of the country is that guy Aristotle Onassis. Don't believe anybody. Yeah, because she was not her longtime friend. Yeah, they two have met 6 weeks before the assassination in October 1963 already, and they have been met for the first time, if I remember correctly, in 1958. A long-time friend, yeah, a long-time, yeah, okay, friend. Huh? So therefore, she lost the right to Secret Service protection, which is an entitlement of a widow of a United States president. Yeah, but then, and you live on an exclusive island, where do you need Secret Service protection for? Huh? Jacqueline might be excommunicated by the Roman Catholic Church, though the concern was explicitly dismissed by Boston's Archbishop Cardinal Richard Cushing as nonsense. Sure, if you got that close ties to the papacy and to the Roman Catholic Church as the House of Kennedys, and especially Jackie Kennedy has, then there's absolutely no problem. Was that Cardinal Cushing which was mentioned in the 1960 debate when Kennedy said that I don't have to ask Cardinal Cushing or the Pope, I am not the Catholic candidate for president? Cardinal Cushing. Yeah. My. His close ties to the church. And also she has close ties to Hillary Clinton, huh? Yeah. She was supporting Hillary Clinton in 1993. So you know what this woman is striving for, fame and power. And then when she came back to the United States, she was being an editor at the newspaper, Viking Press. Yeah, she was also being a part of the team who has then later published the novel "Shall We Tell the President?" In their edition, a plot to kill the President of the United States. Then Edward Kennedy is foiled by FBI. Huh? How convenient. How convenient. And people said that, oh yeah, the US edition was published by Viking Press, where Kennedy's sister-in-law, Jacqueline Onassis, was then a consulting editor. Although she was not involved, she was criticized for not trying to deter her employee from publishing a novel about an assassination plot against a member of the Kennedy family. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. Let's get it on. In the early 1990s, Onassis, meaning Jackie Onassis here, that is just missing here, that you don't be mixed up, confused, supported Bill Clinton and contributed money to his presidential campaign. Bill Clinton, who said that he had never a sexual encounter with Mrs. Lewinsky, huh? And that looks a little bit like Photoshop here, can't it be? This towel here, Brad, it looks very strange.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
So you know what to make up of her. Yeah, you see that in 1993 November she was thrown from a horse, and the funeral mass was held a few blocks away from her apartment at the Church of St. Ignatius Loyola. What do you expect from a Kennedy Onassis when you know that Kennedy had a Dewey Rames Bible, speaking a Jesuit Bible? And this is all Jesuits everywhere. She has also got a Jesuitical confessor. Yeah. And the public has also only to see her public appearance like a well-dressed, educated, French-speaking American first lady. Yeah, this is the official portrait of Jackie in the White House. When she married Aristotle Onassis, her popularity caused to decline, who viewed that as a betrayal of the assassinated president, which it was, most likely. Her lavish lifestyle as Onassis' trophy wife, in contrast to the shy, selfless, and sacrificing mother of the American public had come to respect as First Lady, led the press to portray her as a spendthrift and a reckless woman. Yeah, well, what is the symbology of that picture, Brad?
Yeah, she looks happy, though. Huh.
Yeah, you can't look in her eyes. Yeah, she has to hide something.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. Well, that's typical of anyone that, is doing something suspicious, right?
Yeah, trophy wife means a negative pronunciation,
Connotation, yeah.
Connotation, sorry, for a good young lady who marries an older and very successful man. Yeah? Here you got another example. She's called Anna Nicole Smith. Happens to be a Playboy bunny, or maybe even Playmate of the Year, I don't know. And she's marrying Mr. J. Howard Marshall. He's 89 and she's 26. I think that's not the biblical approach what marriage is supposed to be for, Brett.
No, not even close.
Not even close. So that's purely about the money. And maybe that's also a little bit in favor of that billionaire here. Because maybe he thought, I don't know, he thought that, okay, that maybe I won't last, they won't celebrate 25-year anniversary on the wedding, most likely. So he thought, okay, that maybe she's that nice and maybe I want to give her some security. Or I don't know. You see that you can't tell. You're not God. We are not judging anybody. But maybe that was also a nice move of him. I don't know. Maybe she's just a honeypot or she's just money grabbing something. I don't know. I don't care. But it's really interesting. I have not looked it up in the English Wikipedia. But after the death of Mrs. Smith, who was then 39 years old when she died, imagine that. Yeah, there was an accusation against her former friend called Howard Stern and two other doctors about a conspiracy about medication on a drug abuser, speaking of Mrs. Smith, illegal medicamentation. Yeah, that's very interesting here. Then, of course, I came up with the idea that there are some quote of Luke. Where is Luke when you need him? Luke is in the New Testament. Luke, it was 16:13 read. Isn't that also suitable for Jackie Kennedy?
No servant can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
Yeah, so God is the opposite of mammon. Also, mammon is just a pagan god, which is about materialism, all about the money. Yeah, and that's a problem. I now got a big problem because I forgot to translate that into English. Because if I don't translate that into English, or look it up where the English version of that is, you don't know what I'm talking about, because that will be a major thing in our next discussion or next this session. Because I remembered one of my famous novels of one of my absolute famous novelists of the 20th century. The name is Friedrich Dürrenmatt. He's a Swiss dramatist, and he made so many interesting pictures and movies, and you will soon see why I have chosen him. And therefore, I'm sorry, but this is just the introduction into the Killer Queen, or Jackie Kennedy, and the entire background also of the Kennedy assassination. This is, for me, it was very important. I just first thought it was just a little enjoyment by the way here, but it is very key to understand. So please bear with me when I tell you about The Visit. That's the Visit of the Old Lady. That's the original German title of that play. That play has been premiered in 1956, and Mrs. Kennedy had been married in 1953. So it was during the time when President Kennedy was not president yet, but these two were married. But this is just for the average understanding, and therefore I'm sorry I have to take the part into the narrator now, and it's just to bear with me that I need much words to explain my train of thoughts. Synopsis. An enormously wealthy older woman returns to her former hometown with a dreadful bargain. She wants the town people to kill the man who got her pregnant, then jilted her. In exchange, she will provide enough money to revitalize the decrepit town. The townspeople eventually agree. Act 1. The story opens with the town of Güllen, which is a name like liquid manure in German, preparing for the arrival of famed billionaire Claire Zachanassian, who grew up there. Güllen has fallen on hard times, and the townspeople hope that Claire will provide them with much-needed funds. Alfred Ill means ill.
Or is it Alfred III?
No, it's Alfred Ill.
Oh, strange.
Yeah. Is the owner of Güllen's general store and the most popular man in town. He was Claire's lover when they were young and agrees with the major that the task of convincing her to make a donation should fall to him. After settling into the hotel, Claire joins the rest of the town, who have gathered outside for a homecoming celebration. Claire takes the opportunity to announce that she will make a huge donation, 1 billion, half for the town and half to be shared among the families. The townspeople are overjoyed, but their happiness is damped when Claire's butler steps forward to reveal her condition for the donation. The butler was once the Lord Chief Justice of Güllen and had heard the paternity suit that Claire had brought against Alfred. In the suit, is it suit? In the suit, Alfred produced 2 false witnesses who have since been transformed into Claire eunuchs, and the court ruled in his favor. Her donation is conditional on someone killing Alfred. The major refuses and the town seems aghast, but Claire says that she will wait. Act 2. As time passes, Alfred becomes increasingly paranoid as he sees everyone purchasing especially costly items on credit in his shop. Alfred visits the police officer and the mayor, who have also bought new expensive items, and they dismiss his concerns. He then visits the priest, who attempts to calm him but finally admits they have been paid off and advises Alfred to flee. Alfred heads to the railway station to escape, but finds that the entire town is gathered there. They ask him where he is going, and he says that he is planning to move to Australia. They wish him well, again assuring him that he has nothing to fear in Güllen, but Alfred grows increasingly nervous nonetheless. The train arrives, but he decides not to board, believing that someone will stop him anyway. Paralyzed, he collapses in the crowd, crying, "I'm lost." Act 3. Claire weds a new husband in the Güllen Cathedral. The doctor and the schoolmaster go to see her and explain that the townspeople have run up considerably debt since her arrival. The schoolmaster begs her to abandon her desire for vengeance and help the town out of the goodness of the heart, or her heart, and also because it would be a good business. They need her money merely as profitable investment, and the city, despite its current ruined state, has great economical potential. However, Claire informs him that she knows that quite well and herself that caused Güllen to fall on hard times to ensure that the people would do anything for money. Alfred's terror grows as the townspeople buy more expensive products on credit. Hearing of Claire's wedding, reporters are everywhere, and they enter the store to interview Alfred. The schoolmaster, drunk, tries to inform the press about Claire's proposal, but the townspeople stop him. The schoolmaster and Alfred have a discussion, and the schoolmaster explains Alfred will be killed. Alfred accepts his guilt and acknowledges the town's suffering is his fault. Alfred is then confronted by the major, who asks if he will accept the town's judgment. Alfred says that he will. Claire tells Alfred that she never stopped loving him, but that over the time her love has grown into something monstrous. When Alfred arrives at the town meeting, it is flooded with the press, and the town publicly announces their acceptance of Claire's donation. The inhabitants then go through the formality of a vote, which is anonymous, and the mayor states that they have Alfred to thank for their newfound wealth. The doors are locked and the lights dimmed. Alfred is killed by a crowd of townspeople. Just as a reporter reappears in the auditorium, the doctor announces that Alfred has died of a heart attack. The reporters gather and declare that Alfred has died of joy. Claire examines the body, gives the major his check, and leaves the town with Arthur's body in the casket that she brought with her when she arrived. Now, if that is not a story about greed and vengeance and the power of money, no? So that is a story here that is fictional. But, and now comes the but. Switch back to the name of the town is Gülle, which means these are the deposits of animals. And yeah, that's and also her name has been changed from Clara Wäscher to Claire Zachanassian, because Clara is just German and Claire looks very or sounds very international, in a certain kind of way. Okay, yeah. And Wäscher means washer, and then she moved, or she married certain times, I think it was 8 times, and then she became Claire Zachanassian, which sounds very international. But isn't that the same with Jackie Kennedy? Yeah, she hated to be called Jackie as just a mere wife of Jack. Yeah, she wanted to be called Jacqueline. Yeah, and her real name was also Jacqueline. And she came from the family called Bouvier, which is also, of course, from French descendant. And then her name was, of course, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy. But isn't Kennedy Onassis just more famous as Bouvier Kennedy? Because the original idea of the author Friedrich Dürrenmatt was Mr. Onassis. He had 3 names in mind. First was Zakharov. He was a dealer with weapons, and he was, according to Wikipedia, the most wealthy man of his time. And then the Greek ship magnate, Mr. Onassis. And then it was Mr. Gulbenkian, which was a developer and an engineer, British engineer, etc., etc. So the name of Zachanassian is a combination of Zaka, Nassi, An. Yeah? So there's Onassis in the middle of it. And of course, Mr. Onassis had a fleet of ships. And what do these ships carry, Brad? Tankers. What do they carry?
So, oil, of course.
Yes, oil, of course. And therefore he was, of course, for the Vietnam War. And of course, against Kennedy. Yeah, that's quite logical. He was a Surrey military knight of Malta. Of course he's for the war.
Yes, that's right.
It's just plain simple. It's SMOM, yeah? It's military, yeah? You need oil for tankers and planes and everything else. In the book Crude Oil, Crude Money from a certain Thomas W. Lipman, we read that there are important insights into United States policy, the Dulles brothers and their business with big oil, and the role that the Onassis affair played in the 1950 to 58 United States struggle to protect, consolidate, and to expand its economic interest in the region, because Mr. Onassis had a great idea to combine himself with the Saudi Arabian government, which is actually the Saudi Arabian king. And the American government, they had a very hard time, and Mr. Onassis did not succeed. So Mr. Onassis had a hard time with the United States government. Because it's just all about money. It's all about crude oil and crude money. And from that book, I have copied a page. That's the page 228. The author says, quote, "As for Onassis, he recovered quickly from the Saudi Arabia affair and resumed his life as a rich, high-living wheeler-dealer. When he married John F. Kennedy glamorous widow Jacqueline in 1968, he rose to an exalted position in the stratosphere of fame. He had been chastened by the Saudi fiasco, but it left no permanent wounds." Wheeler-dealer. It's all about fame. That's the opinion, of course, from that author here. And in the official story from Friedrich Dürrenmatt, the visit, it's been called that Claire Zachanassian is a multi-millionaire, later happened to be a billionaire, and one of her husbands is coming from Armenian oil. Sure, because it is just from Gulbenkian, and of course it's just Onassis in her name. Yeah. So when you want to have a big wealth and fortune and fame, you have to go to the oil market. And where is the oil market located in Texas? It's Dallas. In 1954, he made a bold business gamble. Speaking of Mr. Aristotle Onassis, he tried to corner the crude oil shipping market by signing a deal with the king of Saudi Arabia. If it had worked, it would have reshaped the history of the Middle East. As it was, the proposed deal terrified British and US oil companies and the Dulles brothers. Well, that's the official story, because they don't tell you that he was SMOM, so there were just some plans on top of Mr. Onassis, of course. Yeah. But that's why I came up. I said, Onassis, there was a famous thing about Mr. Onassis. And I said, that's very interesting. Yeah, and everywhere I come across the fact that the club is very small and we do not belong in that club. Mr. George Bureau was a doctor who happened to be specialized in operating men to women in Morocco, and Casablanca especially, since 1956. And among that, there was some men from the Paris club Le Carrousel, who were then traveling to Africa, to Morocco, to get their operation to become, so to speak, woman. And one of them, who were financing that, was Aristotle Onassis. Some say that Jackie Kennedy is a transgender, which I don't believe in, but it's very interesting that also he was giving money for that kind of experience. But very interesting. Yeah, everywhere I come across that Onassis guy. It's a very strange character. Yeah, once again, this is all these people are actually males and not females. So, but when Jackie Kennedy was having her first child in 1957, I think that's very hard to do. And I don't think that Mr. Kennedy was into... No, but let's just skip it. Let's get back on the road on Wikipedia to have an impression of what we are dealing with, what kind of people were in the car, what we are dealing with Jackie Kennedy. She was featured as one of the top 10 and most admired people of the second half of the 20th century. This number is superseded by only Billy Graham and Elizabeth II. This number is only superseded by only Billy Graham and Queen Elizabeth II. Congratulations, Billy Graham, Brett.
Oh, jeez.
We are living in the Antichrist kingdom.
Yeah, Billy Graham.
Most admired people. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Most admired people.
So-called Protestants.
Yeah. Order of the Garter, Protestants. Yeah, sure. And Dame of Malta, by the way. How to look, yeah. So, Kennedy wearing not a pink Chanel suit, because that's Wikipedia, that's also another lie. That garment was made by Chez Ninon using Chanel's approved line-for-line system with authorized channel patterns and materials. So it was not a suit by Chanel. So many things. So, when a website, which is very interesting, is called allreligionsare1.org, it's just a very interesting website for real material. But of course, they claim that Christianity is just a solar religion because they are just distracting people into believing that everything is a big mess. All religions are a big mess. Which isn't, because there are just one religion, one faith, and Jesus Christ. And that's not the task of the website, but that website has some interesting contributions to make. JFK Ritual, she was Jesuit trained media actress. The JF Ritual with Jackie in her ironic pink Chanel suit, or Chanel-like suit. And Pillbox head, Alice in Wonderland program. So, what's the start of this conspiracy church? Which introduced the term conspiracy theorist and created narratives in which JFK was a hero fighting the deep state. JFK.
Oh goodness, where you were saying you got this from a website, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's pretty out there, that statement. I mean, for one, deep state is we know that's a term that is a false term to talk about our government, which is the beast. Yeah, boy, wow. Just incredible how. Yeah, I can see why, Michael, you're saying you just really don't like doing these Kennedy sessions much because of this.
It's one mess after the other. You see that?
Yeah, one mess after the next. Yeah,
there's
right.
nothing left in the end. There's nothing left in the end of any heroes or so. There's just a fight for power. Yeah, that's
and
it.
Money. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like talking about the Federal Reserve note. It's not any real wealth. In fact, it's debt. They're debt notes. And how on earth is it that we actually exchange goods and services on debt notes? Don't ask me. I mean, just think about it yourself, dear listener. These are things that are, I mean, it's a miracle we're alive and well, Michael. Be thankful for that. But I mean, as far as the world's concerned, it is a stinking mess. And this is the proof, isn't it?
Yeah, but you have to look into the big picture. The big picture is that there is nothing which will be presented to the broad masses who is not initiated. Yeah, so these are no regular representative of any state. Nothing. Yeah, she was educated in George Washington University. She had 1 year studies in Georgetown University. You see, what do you think that her mindset is?
Yeah.
Other than to be egoistic and after money and fame. She posed at the ritual of the inauguration of Jesuit Lyndon Johnson, also SMOM, and also Freemason, everything else, with Jack Valenti on board here. This is Jack Valenti. Jack Valenti happened to be the president of the American Motion Picture Association. Yeah? And that is very interesting because he's another Jesuit. And not only that, he was made a special assistant to President Lyndon B. Johnson after that. So he's responsible for the American pictures and movies. How
see, in the eyes of the Antichrist, he's honorable. See?
Yeah. Part of the selected people around Johnson that evening. Yeah, and it's getting worse. Because I found out not only that he was in these ties with Lyndon B. Johnson, but, and I hope that I can see that here soon. I have to translate it here. Valenti, so that Jesuit on that picture, helps also with the television broadcast of Kennedy's meeting with Protestants on the 12th of September 1960 because of anti-Catholic resentance of voters for the presidential election 1960. So he was responsible for the broadcasting of that famous Houston speech of Kennedy. I'm not the Catholic candidate for president. Yeah, so that was not only a Jesuitical script, but that was also a Jesuitical broadcast. So it was all scripted. Yeah, he was just paraphrasing the things that somebody else has written for him, and they wanted him to run and to become president. So it was most likely and clear that he was going to become president. But then he failed to obey, and that's what killed him after all. But they wanted him to become president. He had the help of the Catholic Church, he had the help of the Jesuits, and the help of the mafia.
Yeah, such a strange circumstance, isn't it?
Yeah, and he married one of the secretaries of Mr. Johnson in 1962. A special reference to the president. He was the best ambassador that Hollywood ever had, is a quotation of Steven Spielberg. Yeah, then you know what's that's a kind of an infamous quote. Yeah. So you have only a net Catholic Knight of Malta, Joe Kennedy. You have a Roman Catholic Knight of Malta, Jack Valenti. You have a Knight of Columbus, Kennedy. You see that these are all initiated. These are no representative. It's Jesuits and knights everywhere. This is just a Jesuitical theater. I will just skip it because it's just too much and too much and too much and too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
making fun of us. Yeah, the James Bond villain Stavros Blofeld and Aristotle Christatos, for your eyes only, was based on Aristotle Onassis and his associate Stavros Livanos. They're just making fun of us in the open. Yeah, this is just a picture here of 2001 Odyssey. Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. How many numbers of floors, Brett?
18 is that?
Yeah, sure.
6 plus 6 plus 6 equals da da da.
Yeah, sure. And you see, she's dressed like Jackie Kennedy, which means Alice in Wonderland, which means programmed. I'm programmed to help you. Yeah, and she's also programmed. She's the one who's standing out with her dress. She's not dressed as a first lady, come on. Do you think that she's dressed as a first lady? She says, oh, it was terribly hot. Yeah, no wonder when you are dressed as a wolf in sheep's clothing. I know that she wear that garment, that dress several times before. I know that, but nevertheless, you see that these dresses also have a certain meaning to that. The color, the dress. Yeah. So does she help him? Does she looks caring? It's hard to say on that grainy pictures there, of course. But once and for all, don't believe anything. Yeah, because Greer, the driver, was trained to accelerate and swerve if the president was in danger, but he just did the opposite. Yeah, you see that. Of course, that was just a operation, a Secret Service operation. Greer's son indicated, I have found that his father was one of the people who had no respect for Kennedy. Greer was a servant for JFK's rival Henry Cabot Lodge for many years and was a Northern Irish Protestant in an era where the Protestant-Catholic hatred was palpable. When Greer's son was asked, what did your father think of JFK, the son was silent. When the question was repeated, Greer responded, well, we are Methodists and JFK was Catholic. But you see, that's a big but. You see, got so many claims. What do you want to prove, and how would you like to do that? You have to only use your common sense. You know that this was just a marriage, or Camelot was just a fairy tale for the audience, for the broad masses. Yeah, that never happened. Yeah, they were not in love in 1963 in Dallas. Not even close. That was the first time where she agreed to accompany him on the presidential campaign. The first time. Because, you know, that officially she lost her son, and then she's just coming back since 5 or 6 weeks from a vacation on the island of Mr. Aristotle Onassis, together with her bodyguard Clint Hill. And you think that this is Camelot, huh? No. This is just disinformation. We know that our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. So the CIA is for disinformation. Yeah. So when I come down this Ole Dammegard character here, he says that it's a miracle that Jackie Kennedy wasn't taken out. Yeah, sure, it's not a miracle. She was part of a covered operation. Covered because we are not seeing the details, because everything has been deleted and forged and fabricated. This is just fairy tale. No, this is just repetition. Sorry. So because that she has ties to nobility, that means that she has ties to the papacy as well. Yeah. When she made that famous poem for JFK, he would find love, he would never find peace, for he must go seeking the golden fleece. It's not only about Jason and the Argonauts or other legends or so, it's just also about the Order of the Golden Fleece. Yeah, the Order of the Golden Fleece, from William I, House of Orange. And also Camillo Borghese, brother-in-law of Napoleon. I said, oh, that's very interesting, because Jackie Kennedy happened to have a dinner in honor given by Principe Pier Francesco Borghese in Rome in November the 13th of 1967. Yeah, so she was in the respective circles in society. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Of course, she was Kennedy at that time. But she was being invited and having a dinner in honor of Jackie from some kind of the Borghese family. The Borghese family in Italy is a very old Italian family. Borghese, Gannaria. Yeah, that's very, very old family. Especially because there was some Pope Paul V. In the 17th century, he was the reigning Pope. The House of Borghese is a help me out please, princely?
I'm trying to see where you're at, Michael.
Yeah, princely.
Oh yeah, princely family, sure.
Princely family of Italian noble and papal background.
Yeah, that's right, the Borgheses.
Yeah, the Borgheses. His name on the St. Peter's Basilica, even. Okay. Yeah, you see that's where the circles are where Jackie Kennedy is having dinner. No? Not Burger King, yeah, but Borgheses. No?
Not Burger King.
It's also a king.
Yeah, but I think that's
look it up. It's
just a notch different than McDonald's.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you see that this also McDonald's is also an empire, huh? That's
but it's junk food, Michael. Come on.
Yeah, but it's just for the majority of people, it's very tasty. Yeah, what I would like to point out is that also this nobility is an.
If you're brain dead, Michael, yeah, it's tasty. Yeah.
It's just that these people here in all this nobility, these are being organized in these orders, Catholic orders, be it the Order of the Golden Fleece, be it the Order of St. John, be it the Knight of Columbus, be it the Surrey Military Order, etc. These are just orders. And JFK would have never become president without the help of the mafia in some counties, for example. This is Johnny Roselli behind him. Yeah, this is a mobster. And of course, the mafia was furious when Robert F. Kennedy then was suing the mafia, and even they have kidnapped some mobster and flew him out to, I can't remember, Guatemala or somewhere else. I cannot remember. There's so much information here. Yeah, Johnny Roselli here, recruited by the CIA. Yeah, so the mafia worked for the CIA. This is it's everywhere. Yeah, Sinatra sponsored Roselli membership. Yeah, sure, they're all into that. Gambling, money laundering. Shortly before Roselli testified before the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, unknown person shot and killed Giancana officially in the basement of his Illinois home. This happened just days before Giancana was to testify before the committee. Giancana's murder supposedly prompted Roselli to permanently leave LA and Las Vegas for Miami. Yeah, he had been missing, and then later on he was found decomposing in a fisherman's drum, etc. If that is correct, yeah, you can question everything. Yeah. According to Bonanno, Roselli fired a Kennedy from a storm drain on Elm Street. I highly doubt that. I have just another idea, or not idea, but I will try to explain that also. And it was no Jane's file. It was not happening. Yeah. So these are just all programs. People are being programmed by the media, by radio, broadcast, internet, television. Playboy founded in the same year as MK Ultra. Yeah, as a Babylon, Mysteria, religion, sexual revolution. Janet Jackson, star of Ishtar. Yeah, and then becoming mother at the age of 50. Yeah, I'd have to believe that. Yeah. So what they try to tell you, what they try to show you, is that what you have to believe, and that's what you have to get. So when she's trying to show you something, then it's a religious ritual here. That is not happening by accident. There is a famous and one of my tasty musicians out there. The name is Donald Fagen. Donald Fagen made a very terrific album called The Nightfly in the beginning of 1980s. He happened to be one member of the Steely Dan group. And Donald Fagen has made that song about the radio broadcaster, the knife delay, speaking of respect the second delay we use. So there are radio stations that employ a 7-second delay in their live broadcasting in order to allow for unexpected bloopers, obscenities and foul-ups that may occur in real life. So live is not live. So when I would like to avoid the occurrence of Mrs. Janet Jackson, then it would have been avoided. But they didn't want it, so that was happening on purpose and not by accident. Yeah, when they have the second delay on radio broadcasts, you can imagine they have the same at television. It's not live. There's a delay. You're not seeing live pictures, you're seeing pictures which are a little bit more older. Okay? So that's what you have to bear in mind. They're all playing all tricks on you. You believe everything you see that, oh, it's now happening. No, it happened. It happened.
And not only that, Michael, they are censoring or rather suppressing any information that might be useful to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just programmation. It's just to program people by movies, by broadcasts, by magazines. Yeah, it's endlessly. It goes endlessly. You see that you can't make 100 sessions or 1,000 sessions on Kennedy. Yeah, sure, they all have tried LSD at that time. That was just fancy stuff. But you see that also Mr. Kurt Meyer allegedly has connections with Mr. Kennedy from the CIA regime changer, Regime Militantes Ecclesia, with his wife Mary Pinchot, because allegedly both of them had drug experience together. But what does that tell you? That does tell you that the CIA is even handing over some wives to Mr. Kennedy to put him in trouble. I think that nothing happens by accident there. Let me just look, where am I? So then go to the 1964 Warren Commission testimony of Mrs. Kennedy. That is hilarious, actually. Yeah, because that is not a regular interview. It seems like coffee and cake. So that most important thing is, I usually would be waving mostly to the left side, and he was waving mostly to the right. Yeah, sorry, it's about murder here. It's not about the presidential appearance or so. Yeah, and she says it was terribly hot, just blinding all of us. Yeah, so why did she not remove her hat? Mm-hmm. Maybe why? Because it was maybe glued on, huh? Yeah, that's most likely, actually, that it just has been stable in place for the entire action that she made. And it was very windy also on that day. You can see the flags on the limousine and on the bumper.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So that is, yeah. Yeah, and then she says that, yeah, then was my Connolly was yelling, oh, no. And then she tells you, and then the car was very slow. She doesn't tell you that it almost came to a full stop. No, she says only, the car was very slow. And there weren't many people around, sure, because it was a restricted area. Yeah. So you have to look upon the things that she does not tell you. Yeah? And what she does not tell you is a very strange thing, because now we have a problem here. Do you recall anyone saying anything else during the time of the shooting? She says, no, there weren't any words. There were just Governor Connolly. And then I suppose Mrs. Connolly was sort of crying and covering her husband, but I don't remember any words. And there was a big windshield between, I think, isn't there? And Mr. Ranking, the interviewer, says, yeah, between the seats, and that we have to take into consideration here. This is here like a protection for and support for the roof, which is down at the moment. Yeah? So you see, this is here also been equipped with a window, which can be opened. And as far as I'm concerned, Brett, I would say that its window is open.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so let's look at her testimony. She says, those poor men in front, you couldn't hear them. She says, there was a big windshield between, I think, isn't there? Yeah, between the scenes. Yeah, so those poor men in the front, you couldn't hear them. Yeah, and that's absolutely incorrect. In all of the pictures, frames of the Zapruder movie, and the pictures that I've seen, that window is not closed but open. Also, that would be a very strange idea, because otherwise the theory that the driver Will Greer shot Mr. Kennedy would not work if there would be glass between them, huh? So that's a blatant lie, most likely. But because maybe she's on a trauma and what else. Yeah, and she cannot think of anything more. I think that is the story, and that is what we came for, said the chairman. We thank you very much, Mrs. Kennedy. It is very hard for them to talk, but I remember I don't recall climbing out of the back of the car. Yeah, I do not remember, just as I don't recall climbing out of the back of the car. So she cannot remember anything. Yeah, that's the most easiest task, to say that I can't remember. That's it. They did not ask her, Brad, that from which direction the shot came, or what direction made the body of your president, and what occurred. No, they just wanted to know that, did you wave left, did you wave right, and what did anybody say in the car. That's it. Yeah. So that is no regular interview when it comes down to murder of an American president. And she was claiming there was a big windshield between, this poor man in the front, you couldn't hear them. Yeah, so I think that it's fair to say that she is imagining that the windscreen is being closed, so she cannot hear what they are saying, and that is absolutely not true. Yeah, so I think she's not speaking the truth. Sorry. Absolutely not speaking the truth. Yeah, she can't remember anything. Sorry, this is German here. She can't remember anything. Yeah. What she can remember is that she's attracted to very wealthy guys. That she can remember. Yeah. For the head of Automobili Fiat in Italy, Mr. Agnelli, etc., etc. Yeah. This is just a bunch of people who are just sophisticated people. She's not interested in nice guys because they're not making any money. Oh, this is just... she dropped her first boyfriend because he did not make any money. Or not enough money. Yeah. So the problems we have made in that conspiracy series is actually that to avoid any gossip, but after all you can't trust any witnesses. But when you see all these close ties, when you see all these so-called coincidences, that of course maybe, just maybe, these the Morenschilds had handed over that Landshark puppet to Jackie Kennedy, then you got the next problem, because that the Morenschild is not a regular guy, he's a baron. Yeah, so he is nobility. And he moved to America, and he was one of the best friends of Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald. What a coincidence, huh? The world is so small in Dallas. Dallas is such a small town. Yeah. So this Mr. George de Mohrenschildt and his wife Jeanne Mohrenschildt, they were on Long Island in summer 1938 when they were then getting to know the family of Bouvier. Among them, the 9-year-old Jacqueline Bouvier, 1953, was becoming the wife of JF Kennedy. So this de Mohrenschildt, they knew Jackie since she was 9 years old. What a coincidence, Brad. What a coincidence. And it's getting better. In Dallas, then de Mohrenschildt moved to Dallas and had a job relating to oil at the oil baron called Clint Murchison Sr., which was, of course, the location where everybody was having a great meeting, be it Lyndon B. Johnson, be it J. Edgar Hoover, be it so many people, and Jack Ruby and all the people on the day before the assassination. Yeah. So what a coincidence. Spot on. Spot on. You see that all the people have been together here, just CIA, Jacqueline Kennedy, you see, these are CIA agents, yeah, so they have met Jackie Kennedy at the age of 9. Yeah, it's all CIA. Yeah, it's just all the oil people and all the stuff. It's all about money, and of course also this Aristotle Onassis guy is an oil related billionaire. Yeah? And also he was suicided. He was suicided later on, this D. Morin child. You see that it's just... it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Allegedly, Mrs. Kennedy had affairs with Frank Sinatra, William Holden, and Gianni Agnelli from Fiat. It goes on and 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 on. So once again, it's just a stinky business, this entire politician thing. Kennedy also met allegedly Aldo Moro, which was a political leader in Italy. He was being murdered in an allegedly Masonic murder ritual in 1978 in Rome from the Red Brigade, Brigado Rosso, which also happened to resemble a pentagram, of course. And I have retranslated an Italian program about that, about the murder of Aldo Moro, into German. In German, the interviewer says to the interviewed man on the right, I repeat the question, how Aldo Moro has been died. And it's very interesting because the original Italian title on that movie, on that video clip, has been said, when Kissinger threatened Aldo Moro with death. Yeah? So Kissinger was threatening Aldo Moro. Well, very interesting. Yeah? Kissinger being one of the main key players in the United States politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and
JFK
he's still alive today. Can you?
Yeah, unimaginable, huh? Unimaginable that he is still alive. He's more than 100 years. He's German, by the way. Ja, quando Kissinger minacolo di morte Aldo Moro. Yeah. Maybe that's also available with the English subtitles. Oh, no. Huh?
It's not, huh?
Uh-uh.
Interesting.
Yeah, but morte means mort. Aldo Moro is clear, and Kissinger's... Yeah, and so the stinky business goes on and on. The JFK was being pushed by Jesuits, Catholic Church, mobs, Knights of Columbus. Yeah, it's just, it goes endlessly. You see that everything serves a purpose. Yeah, it's just the rituals all over again. Yeah, so what to believe? Videos to believe, pictures? No, it will be another approach that I think it's most suitable to JFK and politics. I think it's just another approach. You see, these are just pieces of the puzzle, but it's not the solution. The solution is that nothing happens by accident. Yeah, this is just a programmation. This is a program operation. The dress of Mrs. Kennedy also might resemble to Alice in Wonderland programmation for young children, because pink usually associates the color of childhood for women or girls, actually. And like the Wizard of Oz or Wizard of Osiris, actually, the story is based on Egyptian mythology, representing Sirius or Osiris or Isis going to the underworld. Yeah, so the follow the white rabbit. That's the same, the same thing as in Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, so it's just also programmation. This whole QAnon thing, I said, this is a psyop. Beware of that. I said years ago, but I think that was millions of people falling for that. Yeah, Lewis Carroll, yeah, also a pedophile. It's just all over the place. You see, that's all over the place. Yeah, follow the white rabbit. Yeah, into Wonderland, into the underground. Yeah, into the deep state, into the Secret Service. One of your preferred alter egos. One of your preferred alternative reality. Yeah, but it's just alternative reality. It's not the absolute reality. It's not the truth. It's just fiction. It's just a program. Yeah, where you would like to be. What you would like to be, yeah. In 2030, you own nothing and will be happy, yeah. By just looking into your three-dimensional Google glasses and pretend that you got a big 12-cylinder Lamborghini. Oh, sorry, in electric Lamborghini and some fancy stuff around there. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
What happened with the 12-cylinder then? No.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So also Alice is a code word for Alice in Wonderland, of course. Eyes Wide Shut. It's always the same. Yeah, so this is a program. Yeah, so she is behaving because she is programmed to do so. Yeah, so when you see that how less she is caring for her husband, and yeah, oh, he's dead. Yeah, okay, that I could care less. Yeah, and then I got another meeting with Clint Hill on the back of the trunk. You see that it's no normal behavior of a daring housewife, huh? No, absolutely nothing. It's just it's just a stage. Yeah, this is just a movie. It's just a movie happening here in real time. And she is the Alice in Wonderland here, or she's just the programmed. Yeah, she's the one who has the head of her head. Yeah, look how the head is tightly fit here on her head. Yeah, look at that, please. And it's windy. Okay. You have to believe it. Oh, it was so terribly hot. Yeah, sure. When you are wearing that lambskin. Yeah, so there are no coincidences there. Zapruder is no coincidence. Alkins is no coincidence. All the people here, if it is Jim Featherston, if it is Mrs. Dragoo or somebody else, if it is Lucien Conain, yeah, these are just here to watch and to check everything. And that's what kept me into thinking into something else, what happened at the Kennedy assassination. But you have to wait, I think, 2 sessions from now. Yeah, Kennedy was shot from the back. Kennedy was shot from the front, most likely, yes. Because I have prepared a video for you. In that video, you find a certain Tom Dillard from the Dallas Morning News. Beware, that's the very newspaper which had the weather report and which had also the allegation of Kennedy coming to Dallas. He was a betrayer and all the thing. And after the assassination of Kennedy happened, that was the newspaper who said, oh yeah, he was the martyred president. And this is a Freemason magazine. Freemason newspaper here. And this Tom Dillard says in an interview, 30-year celebration of John F. Kennedy, in 1993, he says, quote, and I will show you the video, he says, the place was usually a flatbed truck for pool and certain selected photographic personnel to ride in front of the presidential car on presidential parades. That was cancelled at the last minute. We were put in Chevrolet convertibles to ride several cars back, and that put us totally out of the picture. And I thought this week, oh, that is a very interesting find, Brad. Yeah, usually to ride in front of the presidential car. Yeah, but in Dallas that was cancelled as the last minute.
First thing, parades were usually handled with a flatbed truck for pool and certain selected photographic personnel to ride in front of the presidential car on presidential parades. That was canceled at the last minute. We were put in Chevrolet convertibles to ride several cars back. I think we were about 6 cars, Bob Jackson and I, and a couple other boys were in this parade. And that put us totally out of the picture.
If you would like to believe somebody from a Freemason newspaper, then that would mean that they wanted to avoid at any cost that somebody is shooting the president from the front, meaning pictures. So that would be another step for the theory that he was shot from the front and not from the back. Yeah. So they wanted to have the press out of the pictures, out of the scene. It was a very interesting find, if that is correct. Yeah, if that is correct. But that would go up. So you see that these are people acting here. Yeah, you got 5 actors in the car, and Kennedy most likely is totally unaware of everything. Yeah, you see that these people are acting. And first of all, Mr. Connolly is acting, and then Mrs. Kennedy takes over the acting, that people are distracted from the president and what really happens there. So that is the actual presidential limousine with 6 people in front. Okay? So, but, and it's a big but, don't underestimate Mrs. Kennedy, please. Because if it is correct what I have found, then please bear in mind that Jackie's second husband, the Greek tycoon Aristoteles, was her sister's lover when they first met.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah, that's what I found. Yeah, can't prove. But it gets worse. It gets really worse. Because, of course, her sister was married at the time. Huh?
Oh, man.
Yeah. So of course Jackie was being handed over red roses for ritual, and not the traditional Texas yellow roses that was handed over to Mrs. Connelly. That's for a later session here. That's too much. So don't underestimate that character here, this Mrs. Kennedy. She's all in for the money, and the big prize is a billionaire. So, after a wedding in a Jesuitical way, she made it to the millionaire Kennedy, and then she wanted a divorce officially. When you try and or you fall for some sources, then the father of Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, has offered her $1 million if he stays in the marriage, because JFK would not have been re-elected when there would be a divorce. Okay, so if that is correct, so these were having a hard time. It's not Camelot, by the way. It's not Camelot. Because Jackie Bouvier, Kennedy Onassis' sister Lee, yeah, who had an affair with Aristotle Onassis, married Prince Stanislaus Radziwill. The Radziwill family established the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, that's the Knight of Malta, in Poland in 1610. The Kennedy
established? Hey, did I read that right?
If that is correct, yes.
Whoa! Aye.
The Kennedy Institute for the Study of Human Reproduction and Bioethics, located at the Jesuit Georgetown University, is helping found the Knights of Malta's hospice movement to America. Senator Edward Kennedy was one of the two keynote speakers. It is a movement to allow old people the right to die. The Knights of Malta have an ancient history of running drugs and administering mind-altering drugs in their hospitals instead of giving medicine. The ancient activity was carried forth into modern times when their St. Christoph Hospital in London began giving patients Brompton mixture until they died. Brompton mixture consists of heroin, cocaine, alcohol, tranquilizers, and chloroform water. This mixture is given in the Knights of Malta hospitals to patients every 3 hours until they die. Euthanasia or mercy killing may seem like a merciful idea until a person finds out how the people at the top of the euthanasia movement view things. Well,
interesting little article you found, Michael.
And I can't yeah, that's Kennedy bloodline most likely. Oh, I can't remember so many quotes. No, that's coming from the book Bloodlines of the Illuminati.
Man.
That's a very page here. Yeah.
Wow, it'll be interesting to look up some of the references in this book and verify all this information, because that's pretty stunning. That is pretty stunning, Michael.
Yeah, I like to show the sources that you see that I don't make up the things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
That is that book here. I have to copy that into that. I don't know why that has been not found here. Maybe it will be shown. Oh, that is the reason. That is the link here. Yeah. So that is a picture here from Polish Prince and Princess Radziwill in Washington D.C. 1963, with the funeral. Yeah, that's the sister of Jackie Kennedy. Lee Radziwill. Lee Radziwill. The younger sister of the former First Lady of the United States, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. I think we have to switch it to the English version. That's more easy for me to read. Because soon you will see all the mess.
Man.
Princess Lee Radziwill, so sister from Jacqueline Kennedy, was an American socialite, public relations executive, and interior decorator. She was the younger sister of First Lady Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy and sister-in-law of President John F. Kennedy. Radziwill was married 3 times, each marriage ending in divorce, with the marriage to third husband Herbert Ross ending in divorce shortly before his death in 2001. So, she attempted to forge a career as an actress unsuccessfully. She started the production of the Philadelphia Story, blah, blah, blah.
Wow, and she passed away just recently, 2019, it says.
Might be, yeah.
She lived a long life.
Yeah, but interesting enough that I can't. There is Michael. Yeah, the marriage was declared annulled by Sacred Rota, the Apostolic Tribunal of the Roman Rota and the Apostolic Court of Audience, is the highest appellate tribunal of the Catholic Church. Yeah, so her marriage was declared annulled. Yeah, how to achieve then that? You have to have very close ties. Sure, when you have married somebody who has very close ties to the Roman Catholic Church by establishing the Order of St. John. Her second marriage was to the Polish aristocrat Prince Stanislav Albrecht Radziwill, who divorced his second wife and received a Roman Catholic annulment of his first marriage to Mary. What a coincidence, huh? Both of them were lucky. Her second marriage has never been acknowledged by the Roman Catholic Church, so no annulment was necessary. You must be very privileged by the Roman Catholic Church. Yeah. That's her. That's the sister of the First Lady. And she was accompanying Kennedy on the trip to Berlin when she says, I am a Berliner, yeah, because of the pregnant sister Jacqueline Kennedy. Yeah, that was her sister who was then, Radziwill is also from a cardinal in the 16th century. Yeah. Later on, she was, that's from the German Wikipedia here, she was getting to know the Greek ship tycoon Aristotle Onassis, who later married her sister. She was getting to know, yeah. Oh, I like to know you. Yeah. And from that Vanity Fair was reported a long-time affair with Jackie Kennedy's sister Lee Radziwill, yeah, on behalf of Mr. Onassis. Yeah, so Vanity Fair says there was a long ago affair with Lee Radziwill, with Aristotle Onassis. So, yeah, you know that it was just running in the family, huh?
Man.
Yeah,
that's pretty dirty.
Both indoctrinated by their father. You have to become something. You have to look high above. You have to achieve a position in society. What else? You see that. It's very sad to see that these two were just for the money, most likely. But it's getting worse. It's getting really worse. If you think it's worse, then I found a comment which I cannot back up, so I cannot verify it, but it would fit into this, because this is the welcome and the goodbye to the First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy on the 13th of October 1963, so 6 weeks before the assassination took place. And she was going on a trip on a plane from a king in Morocco, so it's just only the highest circles. And she was on a recreation after the death of her 2-day-old son, Patrick Kennedy. And that is just happening in October 1963. And I found a comment which I said, oh my, if that would be correct, if I would have a source for that, that would be great. Someone says, yeah, there is a sister of Mr. Onassis, which is quite correct. And the sister of Onassis is called Artemis. Of course, Artemis is the name of a Roman goddess. And this Artemis has said something some time ago, which I cannot back up, but which would be very fitting. And he said, there's a quote of Artemis, My brother did not have an affair with President Kennedy's widow. My brother had an affair with President Kennedy's wife.
Right. That's right.
So, can't back it up. Yeah, but Onassis was been known as a womanizer, of course. Yeah, I can show you the video and I can show you the comment, but I think that give or take that Aristotle Onassis was somebody who was striving for fame and fortune. I think it is very, very high likely that actually that could be the solution. Why would she choose Onassis to spend her recreation? Yeah, so Artemis. Yeah, so ain't that some shit? But that was the quote which I found, which was very much in line with all these people in power, that they don't care about anything but just to have more power and to have another trophy wife. It's a trophy wife. Yeah, if you have everything, if you have billions, if you have everything in your possession, then you want to have something that others don't have, and that would be the wife of the American president. Yeah, that's a trophy. Yeah, so therefore I think that Kennedy, and it's quite clear that Kennedy was not very lucky that she was choosing Aristotle Onassis, but later on she married the guy. Yeah, it's a very, very strange photograph here, but she married that guy. And of course he was a womanizer. Yeah. Of course he met Onassis on his yacht. Maybe he was having an affair with her sister, and therefore Jackie was being left alone. Maybe. With Winston Churchill, yeah, Freemason and everything else. Yeah, so this is just fame, fortune and power. Yeah, jewelry and fancy clothes and great locations. Sure. Personal trip in Greece. Yeah. Sure, just want to be among the beautiful people. Yeah, and he knows much of it. It's called Clint Hill, of course, the man with the stunt on the JFK car. He knows much, and he has written a book of Mrs. Kennedy and Me, but don't expect to find an affair in it. But yeah, of course, it's just very telling when the wife and the first lady of the president goes on vacation with another man, huh? My. So once and for all, she's lying, because there is no split window, and she could hear the guys, not because the window was being raised, but because she can't remember anything. It's just a play. It's just a play. Yeah, everything is a play. Yeah.
All the world is a stage.
All the world is a stage. Yeah, and he's playing also his role. Yeah, Mr. Clint Hill. I got so many things which haven't made a point of. Artemis had first met Jackie when the first lady and her sister leave her guest on the Christina in October of 1963. Yeah. Oh, her sister was with her. Okay, yeah, then nothing can... oh, maybe they had to just drop the idea, Brett. Just drop the idea. Yeah, so relaxed and smiling. Yeah, they're having a good time in Greece, sure. And they had all the time at their disposal to think of a possible assassination plan. Far away from America. Remember, Aristotle Onassis being a Knight of Malta. Knights of Malta are being to shared blood. It's not to help the people. Also his son, Alexander Socrates, no, not Aristotle, but now Socrates, yeah, hence science is a new religion and philosophy. Yeah, he was the son of the Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis, most likely, of course, Cyril Military Knight of Malta. And he and his sisters were upset by his father's marriage to Jacqueline Kennedy. He was credited with attempting to improve the relationship between his father and Stavros Niarchos. Yeah, You know what happened to him? No?
What, to his son?
Mm-hmm.
No, what happened?
Mm-hmm. Onassis and his sister Christina were greatly upset by the union. So his sister, his children of Aristoteles were absolutely against it. And the son of Onassis says, quote, if that is correct, my father loved the names and Jackie loved the money. So it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation. Yeah, and of course, among the highest possible circles. Onassis died in 1973 at the age of 24 from injuries sustained the previous day when his personal Piaggio amphibious plane, in which he was a passenger, crashed at Hellinikon International Airport in Athens.
Man.
What a coincidence. No? Think of JFK Jr., which happened also to have an accident in his airplane. Aristotle Onassis considered having his son's body cryogenically frozen with the life extension society, but was persuaded against it, and he was embalmed by Desmond Henley. The cause was believed to have a wake turbulence from a Boeing that had taken off before them. 6 people were also charged over Onassis' death in 1974, with the indictment indicating that 40 controls had been fitted to this plane. In December 1974, in a paid advertisement, Aristotle Onassis announced his offering of a 1 million reward for proof that his son's death had been a result of a deliberate action as opposed to the cause of negligence, the conclusion reached by the official injury. Onassis had refused to believe that his son's death was an accident, believing it was due to the machinations of the United States CIA and the leader of the Greek military junta, Georgios Papadopoulos. So what is all the money and fame worth when you lose your child at the age of 24? You see that Mrs. Kennedy has not brought luck to any of her companions, it seems. At least not Kennedy and Onassis. Yeah. And Christina Onassis, which happened to be the daughter of Mr. Onassis, of course, she died at the age of 37. 37.
Oh, yeah, this stuff is getting stranger by the minute. I wonder.
Barbiturates, yeah. So medicine. 37 in Buenos Aires, Christina Onassis. So you have billions at your disposal. Yeah, you have billions at your disposal, and you can't do anything. So I told you that I have my problems with the theory, with the lamp shop. But we are not running out of theories, of course, because in the next session we will have a very interesting approach on the conspiracy of Kennedy. But it's a big but. I'm really glad when all the Kennedy stuff is over, because my impression from Kennedy was not that good at the beginning, but it turned out to be that worse. I would never have expected that to find such a mess. Yeah, it's a mess everywhere you look. There are no normal persons. There's just all persons in for the money and for power and fame, and they will betray each other when it suits them, when they have a benefit. Yeah, so everybody's acting here in an anti-Christian way. If JFK would be a Christian, then he would never have been run for the presidency of the United States.
Yep, that's right.
So whom to believe in all that play? Here I say nobody. Don't believe anybody, because everybody is here for some strange reasons. And I don't believe in anybody except in the Bible. Bible just says that you can't serve both masters. But if I go into every detail of the Kennedy assassination, all the whereabouts and all the stuff of Onassis, it's just all about the mammon. It's just all about the money. I really promise that next time we go into this very interesting script of Killer Queen, and if you thought that this session was strange, then you haven't seen the next session. It will get even stranger. That you really see that everything is connected and there are no coincidences, because we will meet up some things that we have also discussed in the Satanic Music Agenda Exposed. So until then, I really have to wish you good luck for finding real friends and real Christians out there, because there are few. The majority of people is actually on the broad way to destruction, because they all are serving mammon. They're all serving for power and fame, and it's just worthless. It's just worthless. We just don't have to treasure things here. You have to have our treasure in heaven. But this word is so FPPPPP up. Yeah, it's such a mess that you can't have.
Yeah, you could just sum it up as adulterated, Michael.
Yeah,
because that's what it is. It's fornication and adultery.
Yeah, and everybody's in for their benefit, and nobody cares about the other. Yeah,
it is. It's really sad. Really sad.
Who cares? Who cares for the children of Mr. Kennedy? Yeah, John Kennedy, who lost his father 3 days before his 3rd birthday. Mm-hmm. And he even had a plane accident. And the son of Onassis had a plane accident. And the sister of, and the daughter of Onassis, she was dying at the age of 37. And Robert F. Kennedy died at the age of 42. Edward Kennedy had his Chipa-Wawa accident, I can't remember the name, and some other children of Kennedy, they had also accidents and something, and it's such a mess everywhere. Today, I don't regard the family Kennedy more than anybody else. When I started the investigation, I saw that maybe there are some guys who have really wanted to make the world a better place. But you see that if that is correct, that Robert F. Kennedy also had an affair with Jacqueline, although he was married and having 7 children, you see that where to start. And it's a mess everywhere. It's a mess. I won't do another politician anymore because they're absolutely, I find him disgusting. They're all just paid liars, actors. It's so easy to follow the Sermon on the Mount of Jesus Christ because it's just plain simple message that we have to love and care for each other. But these people are caring for themselves, for their benefit. It's just like in our world, you see that all the admired people there, be it Formula 1 drivers, be it footballers, be it tennis stars, they're just all are stars in this world. Yeah, and what do? These people are just serving themselves. Yeah, they're just serving themselves, and these are high-paid people around the world. Yeah, they're just for football. Yeah, what a useless game. Yeah, to put a round globe into. That's just useless. Yeah? But people are spending their money on it because they want to have their images and idols. Yeah? Yeah. Humanity or mankind does not benefit from Mr. Maradona, and humanity and mankind does not benefit from Michael Schumacher. And humanity and mankind does not profit from Air Jordan. These are just things to increase their status, but it's just only sports. It's just nothing to help an old lady. That's the sad thing. Yeah, and these are the high-paid people. Yeah, and if you, I don't know what the English expression for that is. If you just take care of older people, then you have then you have a very low salary, you don't earn much money, and you have to work on Sundays, on festival days, on what else, yeah. If you really have a kind of a Christian job to care about others, this is not well paid in an Antichrist world, of course. On the other hand, if you have a job which is just been admired by all these satanic people out there, be it a race driver or be it a tennis player or what else, yeah, then you have a lot of money at your disposal. Yeah, and so it is another example for the Antichrist world. Nobody wants to care and take care of old and people who are having trouble going to the toilet. But that is life and that is love. Yeah? So that is not the love that Jackie Kennedy wanted. Jackie Kennedy wanted to have a billionaire, he wanted to be the first lady, and her sister wanted to be nobility. And they both succeeded. But would not like to exchange places with them, Brett. That's the end of the session.
No, that's true, because what does it bring you in the end? All this fame and fortune, you know?
Vain deceit, no?
Yeah, vain deceit. Yes, it does. It brings you to a very troubling place, actually. And what is it the Bible was saying again? Piercing with many sorrows. Pierced with many sorrows, you know, these rich people. And yeah, riches don't do anything for you other than, you know, make you more selfish, I guess, Michael. And what is selfishness? It's probably the big problem in our society. The big problem in the world, actually, today. And it just seems to get worse and worse and worse. Doesn't ever seem to get any better. And that certainly seems to be the case in 2022, Michael. And yeah, I don't know. You know, it just makes you wonder how far things are going to go with suppression of information online and things like that, since we've already been through so much. You know, what's it going to take to go further down this road to suppression of all information that leads you to the truth about the gospel of Jesus Christ? To lead you to the truth about history, the truth about Protestantism, the truth about Catholicism. The truth, really, it's a painful situation. And those that are pierced with many sorrows don't want to have them exposed, Michael. They don't want to have that exposed. Although it is to those of us that wish to see it that way. But no, I think that we're certainly on a path to more suppression. And care less for the elderly. It's exactly the opposite of what the Bible is teaching us. That we should love our neighbor as ourselves, not turn him into the police for, you know, doing something suspicious. But that's what the world wants these days. Yep. So couldn't be more obvious, Michael. And really appreciate you taking the time to do these sessions in English for our brethren around the world. And that's really what this is all about. It's about caring enough for everyone else to bring them something a little different that you don't usually get on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we do here on this channel. We bring something a little different. It's not the same as everyone else. We have a different take on it, don't we, Michael? So thank you again, Michael, for your time, and thank you, dear listeners, for your patience with us. And certainly, you know, Michael's just doing this to show you his research and his experience. And of course, our motto is always do your own research, always search these things out on your own and come to your own conclusions about them. But we're just giving you another perspective, more or less. And it's a pleasure to have you, Michael, and looking forward to next time, God willing. Maranatha.